Yvonne is going to be speaking on applications of machine learning and their potential to impact media workflows, and she has some direct firsthand experience with this through her work at Arvado. Yvonne Thomas graduated in television technologies and electronic media engineering from the University of Applied Science, Wiesbaden, Germany in October 2010. So she's really beginning her career now. She received a prominent award of the ARD ZDF or ZDF Academy for her thesis in September 2011 at the IFA in Berlin. And following these studies, she started beginning of 2011 to work at the European Broadcasting Union, EBU, in the Technology and Innovation Department as project manager. She was responsible for projects and strategic programs on 3D and future television technologies, such as UHD TV or LED studio lighting. And since September 2015, Yvonne joined Arvado Systems' new media division. As a product manager, she's responsible for the front-end media portal of the well-known Arvado MAM system, VPMS, Video Production Management Suite, and she follows new trends in the media landscape, like analytics and machine learning. At NAB 2017, Yvonne was presented with the annual prestigious Technology Women to Watch Award from TV News Check. So with that, Yvonne, would you like to come up?
So I'd like to do a little experiment with you this morning, just to, because everybody seems to have a jet lag or just arrived and you might be just tired. There are a couple of people here who are having cards. Could you please stand up? Everybody with a card from this morning? Great. So I'm giving you one instruction in 20 seconds that all you get, and the rest is up to you. The instruction is, group yourself in the way you think it's right. 20 seconds. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 17, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're done. So how far have you come? Kings? Any more groups? So you think you found a structure? Kind of. If you just go back to your seats, please. And you're not done. Because now I'm giving you another instruction in only 10 seconds. So the clubs, please come to the front right. All diamonds to the front left. All spades in the rear right, and the hearts and the back on your left. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it seems all right. You all found yourself and each other? You're just having two here, but the others might be not in the room. Thank you so much for the experiment. You can go back to your seat. So it's just a tiny experiment, but it shows really that just having the right instruction will make it so much easier to interpret the data in the right way. So you all having been information, but what to do with it. So imagine that we have 1 million of information. How long would it take for one human really to structure and to find a pattern in it? I am guessing months. What analytics service does is put this kind of instruction that I just gave you, so kind of a structured information, and create structured data. This is exactly the situation that we have nowadays. We have so much data, the trend, what we call big data, are we just collecting, but nobody's really able to interpret this kind of information. And really through the analytics, we get those structures that we are so, that it's so easy to interpret data and to understand data. So we humans really love to have structured, so everything needs to be sorted, everything needs to be scheduled and on, but we're really not good in processing information, especially when it comes to lots of information. We're highly inefficient. And this is where machines come into the game. I've just collected as a recap a couple of articles from IBC, and it shows AI seems to become the hottest topic, even though we've learned this morning AI is only a marketing term. But what about the influence, really? The ideas of AI are actually old. They're not new, but they're new principles that we're now approaching for our industry. So the goal is really to improve the quality of metadata and to find data faster, simply as you did just beforehand. It's faster. So this is just a scale of prediction, and we have on the left the most simple way of information. So what happened? Something happened, so we want to know what happened. That's kind of easy. It's descriptive analytics. There's no secret behind. The next stage is, why did it happen? So it's the diagnostic analytics. And then we come to the area where it becomes interesting, a prediction. And we have predictive analytics. So when will it happen? So we know, we have a look into the future, and we know something will happen and when it will happen. And the next stage, and this is really, I mean, the most powerful one, what can we even do to avoid it or to make it happen if it's something positive? So the prescriptive analytics, so this is really the highest level we can have. And there was a very interesting presentation or company at the NAB this year. So the company is called Banjo, and they are collecting like any kind of data. They even go into police radio. So they're really collecting like all kinds of data you can imagine that exists in the world. And they process it in a way with analytics that they predict, or they say they were able to know first when the Paris attack happened. They were the very first one, just because of putting information together at the right level and in the right way to recognize this pattern. And there were lots of news agencies basically relying on Banjo, and they were the first ones. And news, it's time is money, so you have to be very fast. And I think that's really interesting just to look at. And also a elevator manufacturer, it's called ThyssenKrupp. They are using analytics to also predict when their elevators will break, or any kind of machine, but they're specialized on elevators. Using analytics of predicting the elevator will break so that they're able to repair the elevator will reduce a lot of frustration if you're stuck in the elevator, but also reduce the cost. So if you have an elevator out of service or any kind of machine out of service, that might cost a lot of money, so you can act beforehand. So I think this is about where we are. We're not quite there at the predictive analytics, but something in between. We are having more than information, but we're still kind of, predicting based on old data, on past data, to put them together in order to think we can predict events to happen, or that a machine will fail soon. So I think we're moving into the direction of prediction, which is very powerful, of course, because information is just reactive and nothing else. And of course, all those algorithms and analytic services, they're about to increase the accuracy. They're becoming much, much better. Every month and year, there are lots of startups coming. inventing those analytic services. And I'm not claiming the figures are right here, but I think it's a nice illustration of the evolution that machines will become more accurate than we humans are, because we humans, we can fail at some point. We're humans. We are not perfect. And as I said, when it comes to huge amounts of information and data, we're highly inefficient, basically. So my thesis one is we do have a new currency in the meaning of, first of all, gathering content, processing content. This is what we do with big data today. But the most essential part is really understanding the data and information and not just owning them. So it becomes very powerful. Like Twitter, Facebook, and so on, they're all collecting huge amounts of data, I mean, really in the world. And they might even own the data. But there's also much more to look behind and to monetize this kind of data. Because this is something that doesn't happen today, and where analytics also can help to really understand the data, to make money out of it, and take the benefits simply. My thesis too is we do require new skill sets, and I'm saying also to reach customer satisfaction. There are two reasons. So a system with analytics is a lively system. So when you're designing a machine learning analytics system, you have a certain set of requirements, and I'm sure you won't know all of it from the beginning. So the essence is that you really just set up your system, and then you can scale. The system is live and will evolve and change over time. That's where machine learning comes into the game, that you need to train such a system. And this is not a one-shot process. This is a permanent process of really getting to know the system, and the system is evolving. So you need new skills for this. That means you need to train your people, and you need to, maybe find where employ new people, and maybe even transfer some of the information into a domain-specific language, so machines will understand what we're actually talking about. And this could be part of contracts if they're in a DSL. So it's very easy to put into a system, and the machine will know exactly what the contract is about, and can process everything automatically. That's why I'm saying, so to reach customer satisfaction is also a big part of it, because it's not, for us as a manufacturer, it's not that we're just setting up a system for you as to your requirements, but you have to understand how the system works, and you have to keep in mind that you have to scale, and the scaling comes through cloud. This is where we come now to machine learning, and what's actually the difference? Machines have no intuition, so this gut feeling what we humans have. And there was also a lot of discussion about how does analytics and AI helps us as creatives to work better, or to work more efficiently. This is exactly the point where there's a difference. There's also a website. I think I've put the link also in the presentation. You can check that later on. Unfortunately, it's only in German, but I couldn't find another equivalent in English, where you just enter your job title, and the page will tell you how much % of your job can be replaced by machines. And so media engineers is about 40%, simply because it's an automation process. As higher I put my creativity area, as less I can be replaced by a machine. That's actually the difference. Because I think there was a question also earlier on, because of this. There is really the difference of our gut feeling, our emotions, of art and culture and everything that we put into that. And of course, our experience as well. So there was also at a recent conference, a discussion about Facebook posts, and they're being deleted So often that happens with a manual process. So a human sits in front of all those posts and decides to delete posts because they're crucial or they contain some of the content that is not for the public. But there are also machines that decide to delete a post or to let a post go through to be published. There is a big difference because a machine often decides different as we humans would do. So a post can be deleted by a machine because of certain requirements, but the human might be tired. Maybe it's just 5 minutes before the end of the day and he just wants to get rid of everything, all of his work, or he's just happy and he lets to go through all the posts. This is what a machine doesn't do, and that's where the results are different, and a machine is quite accurate in what we're telling them to do. We've heard also this morning a couple of insights on the video processing or video analytics. And I think that's also a nice summary about the trends and where they are. You have to look at the graphics because there are 3 dimensions really in the business value, the ecosystem phase, and the significancy and success in our area. So if we look at the blue line really, then we see that there's a lot about speech recognition and natural language generation, so those 2. And those are the 2 that are very, very complex to do because it's not just data. Everybody of us has a different language, a different accent, a different voice, also face recognition. It's all unique, and this is what it makes so difficult to really make a processing out of it and to use analytics in those areas. But this is really the part which is very essential to us in production, post-production, especially for an archivist who's enriching metadata. But if he doesn't understand the language, how come he can enrich the metadata? He simply doesn't know. A machine would, because we can train the machine. And it's learning a language much, much faster than we would do. So my thesis 3, workflows will change because of media analytics services. It's a lot about the reliability and how do we interpret data. So assuming we have a face recognition analysis. So it's telling me this person in that video is 85% happy. Is that enough for me? Or what about the other 15%? How much can I rely on this? So big data meaning, collecting all the information you can get, cognitive computing, which is then adding up the machine learning, the authentication of data, so that we really need to know where it's coming from, where the origin of this processing is, if we can rely on it, or simply not. I've recently talked to a customer who thought about using analytics, and they said, if there's not an accuracy of 95% of those analytics services, then we shouldn't use it, because then the effort to correct metadata and those information is much higher than the use of analytics. If it's 95%, I'm not sure if that's correct, but that's the assumption of saying there might be areas where we have to be very accurate, and there are others where you probably have more time to check, and it still needs this human interaction. And it means still use your own brain. Don't simply trust it. My thesis 4, using media analytics services requires some sort of social responsibility, and this is where we come into the discussion of ethics. So there's a thesis also that our work life in the next 20 years will change much, much faster than it did in the last 2,000 years. So we all know it's going faster, and we all have to learn all our lives, and especially in technology, it's evolving so fast. And we can say that the analytics or AI technology is about to come. That's definite. But what about us? Are we prepared for it? So when the internet came into our lives, nobody has really thought about the impact on us humans. The technology was just there and it was evolving very quickly, but our minds weren't that far to say or to imagine what we could do with it, really, and that the impact is so huge now today. I'm having now a negative example. So Elon Musk says the race to AI could easily lead to World War III. I think we should think positive about it. Well, if it leads to World War III, I don't know, really, and I just hope not, of course. But what it really does is, in my first thesis, I said it's becoming a new currency. So understanding this kind of information is becoming a new currency. So people will start fighting. Not literally, but yes, they will. As a pro, well, we've evolved, but maybe a bit backwards. Who knows? So it's up to us to define clear rules, what we like to do with AI. We've heard the Terminator this morning. If we're inventing machines that are used to destroy us, that are meant for this, they will do exactly what they asked to do, right? So why do we see that really as a danger? Isn't that actually that while we are very bad in processing all the data, the machines can do that much better, and we can concentrate and focus on those things that we're humans good at, especially those creative things, and yeah, our gut feelings and emotions and art and so on. So yeah, that's basically the singularity, and if we don't allow those rules, or through those rules, that machines really become far powerful, we need to influence it. So it's up to us what we do out of it, I think. Where are we with AI? So it's probably that little robot that we think of if we talk about AI. So it's intelligence. They're like self-standing and mostly intelligent and can explain everything, and they know everything, but reality is something like this. In fact, it supports us. So we still need to trigger some buttons, and it's driving us forward. We're not that far that it's really intelligence, but it does help us. So the difference between analytics and AI is really that AI has a kind of a decision loop and a feedback loop to do. This is also where machine learning, of course, comes into the play. Training the system, learning from it, improving the next time. It's exactly what kids does, what dogs does when we're learning. If I put my hand as a child on something very hot, I will recognize it does hurt. So I don't do that again because I'm learning. It's a feedback loop. So we're intelligent. What I want you to take away is now AI is more than algorithms. So there's some kind of feeling that, yes, analytics or AI is something very, very straightforward, kind of some technical rules, algorithms, all based on past data, but there's much more of it. Even though we're not that yet there at the full AI and intelligence or self-containing intelligence. We're just close to real predictions, what we call as predictions. As I said, it's still kind of predicting something, but there might be a slight time shift of it has happened or it will happen. So we're just getting into that direction. Having big data and cognitive computing, so adding machine learning, adding analytics, can become very powerful and a new currency. While we're thinking about cloud and that supports us and makes everything scalable, security is very essential. So if we are having everything in the cloud, it means we're sharing data. But actually, haven't we said at the beginning that we need to own data? So if I'm sharing everything, then I might not be the first anymore to understand the data or to put something on the news if everybody has the same data. So security is very essential, and don't be afraid of AI. I just want to say, still use your own brain. Don't let the machines take over, and think about how to use it, where to use it. And yeah, I think there are enough applications really for us in the analytics part and the processing of information where it just helps us. But it's still up to us how to use it. Thank you.